Did you guys know the guy that made GTA, the original GTA, was supposed to do another series that was supposed to be a similar GTA styled game that kind of flopped after one game? Now, the game I'm talking about has had 3 games in the series. First game sold 1.5 million 6 months after release, which was good for a game that came out in 2007. Because 2007 is probably one of the best years in gaming, with a plethora of games coming out like Halo 3, Assassin's Creed, and many more. And this gaming series is Crackdown. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Crackdown. How the first game did so well and the other games was games that released. Now let's get into the blah blah. I can't talk today. Now let's get into the development of Crackdown 1. Like I said earlier, the guy David Jones, the one who originally created Grand Theft Auto, he worked on this game. His development company, Real Times Game, made this game. And they wanted it to be inspired by GTA in a way, but instead of being a bad guy, you're the good guy. This game started development 5 years after the original GTA in 2002, with original plans to release in 2005, but that didn't happen. Now this game started development in 2002, which had an original schedule to release in 2005, but that didn't happen because pre-development, it was only 9 people working on the game until they fully wanted to go all in. That's when the team expanded to 35 devs. Now the studio Real Time World, I'm gonna just refer to them as RTW from now on because that's too much to be saying. Real Time World. Before launch, they were skeptical of this game because it's a new gaming title, new studio, and they didn't want it to flop. So what they did was release the demo, and that demo did so well that it hyped up the game before release, that when the game initially came out in February 2007, it was the highest selling games in North America, the UK, and Japan for the month of February. And then it sold almost 500,000 in that month, just in the US alone. Now, why was they skeptical about this game series at first? Because they thought it was similar to other open world games when the demo released. Because of the time of the demo, you may not have had your agent fully decked out while playing the demo. So many people probably would have just left the game after a couple minutes because it's just another game, until you realize you playing as a super agent human that's been modified. This dude can run fast, jump high, pick up cars, blow stuff up. He can take a lot of damage. Like, bro, you can pick up a dump truck. You can pick up a ramp car. You can pick up any and everything. You're superhuman. Now, another reason this game sold so well to begin with, because like I said, they got with Microsoft, and when you bought this game, you would get like a code for the Halo 3 demo, which I think it's a good for business, because Halo was one of the best games of all time at that point. It ain't what it is now. Fucking 3 for 3 Industries ruins games. Bungie ain't no good either, but that's the topic for another day. But you get this demo for Halo 3, which was a real highly anticipated game because of the success of the first 2 games. And that also helped the sales too. Now this game's story, you are a super agent working for the agency trying to get rid of the gang. 3 gangs that terrorize the city. That terrorize the cities. Ooh-wee. This ain't in the video. You work as a super agent working for the agencies trying to stop the 3 gangs from terrorizing the city of Pacific City. That is where this game takes place. I don't even know what it's inspired by, but it's split up across the 3 gangs. You could also play with a friend. Co-op. That was a big thing back then. Now the 3 gangs are the Los Muertos, Vault, and Cygen corporations. These games take over 3 sections of Pacific City because it's divided into 3 sections. One side is ran by Los Muertos, the other side is ran by Vark, and the other side is ran by the Saigen. And in the middle is the agency HQ, ran by Charles Goodwin. We'll talk more about him later. Now, the super agent, you can pick up to 8 customizable characters. Well, not really customizable. This was way before everything had to be customizable. You could choose between 8 different agents, and as you progress through the game, they would evolve, look stronger, older, they'll get facial hair, they'll go from looking normal human into a superhuman as you progress through the game. Now let's talk about the first gang, Los Muertos, which mean the dead in Spanish. They are a group of drug dealers from Central America that came to Pacific City to probably smuggle drugs and whatever. Now the 3 gangs has a kingpin, lieutenants, and then the foot soldiers, which is the grunts you will probably see roaming the streets. And each gang have up to about 8 or so bosses that you gotta kill before you get to their kingpin. Los Muertos is run by Don Domingo El Brazo Garcia. El Brazo is his nickname. And he stays in this beautiful mansion off the coast of the city, of the side of the city that he runs. And Los Muertos, they're just drug dealers that want to put fear in the city, basically. Los Muertos run the La Mugre. I don't know how to say that. To my Spanish people, if I say that wrong, I apologize. But it's the dirt side of the town because of how everything looks on this side of town. Now the Vark, they run the den of the city, which is the industrial zone of the city. It's full of industrial buildings and shit like that. The Vark is a terrorist group that's formed from the Cold War. After the facts of that war, they're ran by Vladimir Golek. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry if I mess it up to my Russian people. Now their part of the city is the black market, and they're also formidable with war because they are tactical, they're smart, and all this. Heavily armed too. These boys got rocket launchers that'll blow your shit up. And for the people asking, Vark means the people in Germany. So German. So they're Eastern Europeans. Now the Saigen, these motherfuckers got money because they take place of the Corridor district of Pacific City. And this part of the city is where all the people with money, they be at. And you can see just by looking at the city, this place is beautiful on this side. All the other parts, the industrial zone, it's and where the Los Muertos stays, that's the ghetto. The ghetto. Now Saigen, they all sort of like a former government from overseas, and they wanted to work on engineering, AI, advanced weaponry, and all this shit for a better tomorrow. So these niggas are trying to be like Elon Musk or some shit. And don't forget, they are a corrupt government, a formal type of government from East Asian. They are ran by Zhuang Lun Wang. I don't know if I said that right. We'll have the commander to say it.
Wang's removal has undermined.
Now, after you kill all the gang kingpins and generals, each gang will have a standoff moment where you gotta kill a certain amount of people, and then that gang's gone for good. And at the end of each gang and boss that you kill, a description will play of how killing them hurt that gang, and so on and so on. And after you complete the gang, it shows how that gang was terrorizing the city and how you killing them saved the city. Now, once you kill the last gang kingpin, you save the city from the terror that these 3 gangs had been running all along. And then in the cutscene, the voice of the agent Charles Goodwin basically says the only reason why these gangs took over the city was because of their agency. Yes, these niggas gave all these gangs whatever they wanted just so they can control the citizens But I'll let him explain it to y'all, cause it's fucked up what he did, what they did.
Congratulations, Agent. Peace at last. You overthrew the world's most evil criminal masterminds and their dominant empires. You have returned law and order to Pacific City. You gave the people back their lives. Thank you. It's taken years of meticulous planning and patience to reach this stage, but it was worth it. Who do you think supplied Los Muertos? Who do you think turned a blind eye to the Volk's activities? Who do you think was Shai Gen's biggest supporter? Who do you think ran organized law enforcement and ran it into the ground? The people had to experience absolute anarchy before they would accept unconditional control. You are the portent of a new world order, Agent. Pacific City was only the beginning.
Yeah, they caused all this killing in the city just for power, and that's kind of fucked up. But hey, it is what it is, I guess. You're a superhuman that saved the city. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say that this game was perfect, but it was good. That's why I got another one. I will say some of this game's bad moments. Well, I played it as a kid when it first came out, and I replayed it for this video, and I'm gonna say some of these controls was bad. Like the camera would be off sometimes, and I hate it. For agility orbs, you had to get just to level up your agility. Like it was 800 in total that you had to jump around the city to get. You could also do races and whatnot, but let's be honest. If you haven't killed the gangs in that area that the race in, you'll likely die because they just non-stop shooting at you. Driving, even same with the driving races. If you didn't kill all the gangs in that area, they'll probably pop one of your tires, causing you to do a 360 backflip. But it was a good game nonetheless. If you have never played this game, you probably should, because it's the best game in the series. The story was good. Like, I mean, I didn't play this shit for the story, so I could care less about the story. I played it because you're a superhuman agent. You run fast, jump high. You strong as hell. You can pick up a fucking tank. Now, after the success of Crackdown 1, Microsoft wanted to make a Crackdown 2 because this game did so well. But David Jones, on the other hand, was like, I don't want to do that because I'm working on another game. And then when this game is done, we can go back to Crackdown 2. But Microsoft was like, nah, that ain't it. And gave Crackdown 2 to another developer company. And by the way, you want to know what games David Jones and Real Time World, RTW, was working on? It was APB, All Points Bulletin. Yeah. Y'all remember that game? Y'all probably never heard of it. Yeah, that's the game they was working on. Instead of going to Crackdown 2, they was working on that. Yeah, how did that do for them? But since Microsoft owned the AP, they just gave it to another company, and Crackdown 2 released 3 years later in 2010. If you want me to do an APB video, drop what is APB down in the comments. If not, I won't do one. Because I'll be honest, fuck that game. I remember seeing the trailers, I'm like, ooh, this game might be good, and then it came out, and I was like, what the fuck is this? But anyway, Microsoft owned the IP, so they gave it to another company. I keep saying this. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to create something, make sure you own the IP instead of someone else, because if they own it, they can do whatever they want. Now, this game, Crackdown 2, was developed by a Scottish company, Ruffian Game, and some of the members that worked on the first game was a part of this studio. So it was kind of relatively the same company-ish, because a few members that was on the original game came over to work on this game. And the gameplay is pretty much the same with some minor improvements. Like graphically, this game, instead of the vibrant colors of the first one, it was all dark and dull because of the storyline that they shows in this game, which we'll talk about later on. And David Jones, the guy that made the original one, he wasn't too mad about it because his team that worked on the first one was a part of it. So it's like more of the same. And let's be honest, it definitely was more of the same. When it released, all the reviews was like, this game is pretty much the same thing, and it didn't do anything different from the first. Like, it uses the same city, and they just added some cosmetic to the city, like added some barricades, added destroyed buildings because of the story of this game. Now, this game, story wise, takes place 10 years after the events of the first one. And it's kind of two-sided stories. How so, you might ask? Well, let's start explaining. One side of the story is from Captain Thorne's perspective. Who is that? She's a scientist that used to work for the agency but got fired because she was doing her own stuff on the side that the agency ain't like. So they kick her out of it. And the other side is that of the agency and their director, Charles Goodwin. And in this case, you're fighting freaks. But there's no ordinary freak because Saigen, they had a general that was working on freaks in their labs. You would see them when you're in this side of the city at night. And Captain Thorne was using the same type of genetics he got from the Saigen dude and was using it on the agency clones of the superhumans. After messing with the DNA of the superhuman agents, it causes the freaks that you fight on the streets, and it causes them to evade the agency, leave the agency HQ, and go out to the city and infect the citizens of Pacific City. In that May house, he got kicked out of the agency and hold them and has so much distaste towards them. Not because of the shit they did 10 years ago with lying about the gangs in the city and whatnot. It's because he got kicked out of them for doing shit he wasn't supposed to do. And the agency ain't no good either because Miss Thorne started like a little shelter, a homeless shelter, and they sent the freaks to attack her homeless shelter and said that it was nothing but some wild animals. Because remember, the cops that investigated it, they are also ran by the agency too. They're just not superhuman. They're called peacekeepers. I don't know if I'm missing that in the Sector 1. But the agency blames her that she's the reason all this freak shit is going on. And she forms a terrorist group called SAIL to combat the agency in whatever lies, basically. She's saying that the agency got a cure for all of these zombies freaks from stopping it, and they're keeping it for themselves, which they was because they was only using it on their agents. And they're saying this bitch is crazy, she's lying to y'all, don't believe her, she's just a terrorist group. But that's besides the point. You could believe whatever side you want. You could believe the agency, or you could believe Captain Thorne. Either way, in this game you are tasked with deploying beacons across the city. Beacons that when you basically got to protect, it's like a tower defense. Once the beacon's in place, you got to protect for a couple minutes until it goes off. And when it goes off, it's a bomb. And the agency also got everybody turned against Captain Thorne and SAIL. Or no, maybe, I don't know. But either way, they got everybody to turn against her when she had a peaceful protest that was caused, that turned into violence because of the agency. They sent undercover cops in there to antagonize it, which lead to some bullshit happening. And that basically got her story like, hey bro, fuck you. You signed with the agency, even though it's the agency who are technically in the wrong here in a way, because they actually do have the antidote, and instead of using it on the citizens, they only keep it for themselves. But you could believe whatever side you want, the scientists or the agency, whatever side you want, you choose to believe. But the agency has a shit ton of fuck ups that they have, and them doing this too is also like a sign of a fuck up from them, because they got history of fucking things up. They literally fucked up the whole city 10 years ago just for their own gain. So would it be wrong if they did it again? And you only hear about this side of the story if you collect the videotapes or the audio tapes scattered around the city. So, and Charles Goodwin would say, ignore this shit basically as you collect them if it's whole shit that's bad on the agency. He would just say, hey bro, ignore that shit. It's all lies. And then you also get the news agencies saying the same shit that the agents. So believe who you want, man. And these beams, as you destroy them and displace them around the city, the closer you get towards the end, Kathleen Thorne will hack into you guys' communication center to try to plead with you to stop what you're doing because you're doing more bad than good. But you don't listen anyway. And when you get to the end, you light the beacon at the tower, and Captain Thorne comes to interrupt you before the beacon comes off. You, the agent, yeah, the superhuman. She comes to interrupt you in a helicopter, but that don't go so well because you jump off of the agency tower, land on a plane, killed yourself, and her helicopter blows up. So she's presumably dead. But she's not, because at the end of the game, you see a cutscene of her in the lab with a hand from the agent, because it got cut off from the helicopter blade. So this story could have kept going, but it didn't. But we'll get to why later.
That's one hell of a trial run. With Sunburst in full effect, the agency expansion plan is back on track. I pity anyone who stands in our way.
Now, the good things about this game is they added online, which I don't think even a lot of people play, but they added online. And don't get me wrong, it was fun, but I don't think it was the big selling point. So they added like TDMs and stuff like that. It was cool, but as far as the story mode, it just seemed rushed because they kept the same city. You, instead of having 8 agents to choose from, you only get 4 now. So they cut down to half of the agencies. Technically they didn't, because the 8 agencies in the first game you only got if you like pre-ordered the game or some shit. But that's besides the point. You get 8, but instead they cut it to 4. But they did shows that you could change the color of the agent suit. That's about it for improvements, because it plays just like the first game. Nothing really different other than like the color, because the color on this game is like, bro, what the hell is this? Now, Crackdown 3 came out in 2019, and it was first originally announced at E3 2014. And along development, this game got pushed back 3 to 5 times, like I said before. I think it might have even got canceled at one point, but somehow it released in 2019. And at first, this game was supposed to bring back this series because they had Terry Crews as like for promotion. They used him as promotion. He's even in the game.
You gotta get the jump on him, Cruz! Get out of my gym bag!
At the start, you could play as a character for him. And this game is produced by Sumo. And I don't think David Jones is on it, but I read something that said he was on it. He was in the development of this game. But I also read something where it said he's left to go to E3. So I honestly don't know if he had anything to do in this game. He might have not. Who gives a shit? It's a totally different game than from the first two. And this game also apparently received mixed reviews, just like the one before it in Crackdown 2. Like, many didn't like the driving in this game, because I'm gonna be honest, that shit is ass. And then they also promised everything in the world would be destructible in the story mode, and that was a lie. Ain't nothing in that world destructible. I don't think you can knock down a tree. Nothing in that game is destructible. But they did have the online multiplayer mode that was destructible. Everything was destructible in that, but that shit was ass. People only played it for about a week or two, maybe a month. That shit was so bad. Now this game, it's up to 21 agents you can play as in this game. They even added female agents. They got women actually in this game you can play as in this game. But it's 21 in total. 14 you can play right off the gate. And then the other 7, you will have to collect their DNA inside the game to unlock them. And each agent get different boosts for their skills. Like driving boost, a shooting boost, a agility boost, or explosive boost. They get 2 of them. One is 10, one is 5. Is some that may be 15, but that besides the point. And this game still has co-op, so you can play with friends in this game. And they changed the city. Instead of Pacific City, you play in New Providence. And in a way, they kind of brought back the gang system from the first one. In a way, it's similar, but it's different. Because I want to say it's 9 total lieutenants that work for this organization, Terra Nova. And Terra Nova has different sections. They got the security, industry, and logistics section, all under Terra Nova. And Terra Nova is founded by Elizabeth Nemard. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I don't really give a shit. I don't really care. And she basically built this company from the ground up, and they try to connect it with the lure of the first one, because some of her early customers was the gangs in one, the Los Muertos, Valk, and Saigen. Game, I believe, story wise, take place somehow after one. I don't know. I don't know who the fuck is. No one played this shit. It was even free on Game Pass, and no one played this shit. Well, people played it, but who really cares? It was just who cares? This game leaned more into the comedy aspect with the Terry Crews character. Even Chris Godwin, the voice of the agency, he's not as strict as he is in 1 and 2. He's somewhat lenient. And you also get a new voice in your head, Echo. I don't even know what the fuck she does. She brought you back to life. She was a scientist somehow. I don't know who the fuck cares, bro. Let's be honest. No one cares about this game. But no one cares about it, just to be honest. But anyways, at the beginning of the game, she brought you back to life because Terra Nova released like some toxic chemical element in the air that kills the agents. But Echo, she get your agent and save you, put you like in a tube, brought you back to life somehow. And then meanwhile, the Charles Goodwin get in contact with you somehow, and Echo tell you what happened. He's like, okay, well, we still gotta save the city. And you do that. Similar to the first one. Killing lieutenants to get to the kingpin, to get to the bigger boss. And in this one, instead of killing tenants, it's like 2 lieutenants for each section or so. And then to get to them, you gotta damage the facilities that they own. Like Roxy, she own the monorail, so the more monorails you damage, you can get to fight her and unlock her location after you destroy the last one. And I'm gonna be honest, this system got reviewed bad because it's a copycat missions across the board in a way. But I will say this: the city is vibrant. It's not a ugly city, not a bad game. The story is who the fuck cares? I don't. After the second game, I was just happy to play Crackdown again, even with all the bullshit. Because I'm like, Crackdown. I remember this game. After release, and it was free on Game Pass, so I didn't really care for the story. But the improvements that they made in this game, the map, it's I don't want to call it better. I don't know. But they got boss fights that are actually like boss fight. They got a beginning cutscene now instead of just the ending cutscene. You also get a wingsuit. And you can double jump and triple jump because you got a jetpack now. And got these little convoys across that will just appear out of the city that you can destroy to get more XP. Because you get XP the same way. They didn't never change that from the original one. You either gonna shoot them, drive them over, run them over with the car, blow them up, or punch them. And you also can get a black hole gun. That shit can do a lot of damage.
Gotta max this shit out too.
And for the agency vehicles, it's 3 in 1. And you can summon it by the press of a button and it'll drive to you. Sort of like how in GTA Online they had Johnny on the spot, but they got rid of him. A lot of people don't know that. And this one car can transform into a spider, which can climb on walls and jump. A supercar, which is just fast and can switch lanes at a press of a button. And a tank, which is slow, but it's a tank. And I'll be honest, the cars in this game, they look somewhat, only a couple look better than what the original cars had, I'm going to be honest. But the driving in this game was so bad that you driving a car was probably pointless. Because once you get your agility high enough, you can dash through the air 2 times. You can double, triple jump even. So it would just be faster to just run. After all, you is a superhuman rather than to drive a car. So who cares? And then after you kill Elizabeth, the game's end on a cliffhanger. Again, it ends on a cliffhanger. And I'll be honest, I don't even know if it's going to be a Crackdown 4. Because just how awkward this game series has been. And I know 3, it was like, we don't care. 2, we gave it good grades. 3, it was like, bro, what the fuck is this? But it ends with Terry Crews' character being in a little echo chamber, stasis chamber, whatever, like you was just in. And he gives him the thumbs up with a voice saying some shit like, but the agency never dies, or some bullshit. Yo, listen, look at it.
So much potential, so much power. But don't worry, Agent. Terra Nova was just the beginning. You are the end.
Yeah, that's some bullshit. But anyways, that's Crackdown series in a nutshell. A game that the original creator of GTA made, that the first game did so well. The second game, it somehow did well enough to make another game in Crackdown 3, even though that Crackdown 3 that's a game, alright. But outside of the first one, outside of 1 and 3, I wouldn't recommend. 2, I wouldn't recommend just because of how tedious it is. Well, all these games are tedious, but at least 1 was fun. 3 is okay, because his movement is better. It's like the best in the series. I will say this, because you can double jump and shit, glide through the air with the wing, and you get a wingsuit. Who doesn't want a wingsuit? Now, as to if there'll be a Crackdown 3, it probably won't be. And if it is, who cares? I mean, the team is probably split up and don't even want to talk about this game no more. The people who made the original didn't even want to work on 2 till after they finished the game that was supposed to be revolutionized, APB, which ain't do shit either. But I think that, I don't know. Listen, if it's a 3, if it's a Crackdown 4 and it's on Game Pass, get it. If you gotta pay for that shit, don't even bother, bro. But anyways, I'm out. If you like this video, like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm out. Peace.